Hi everyone, it's Jenelle from Pieces to Treasure. Today we're going to learn how to back a table runner made from Moda Toweling, and here's one here called Be My Valentine. How to put a back on that of Moda Toweling. So it makes a completely reversible table runner. You have your front with your applique on it or your piecing, and we're going to back it in Moda Toweling. Ironing from the right side, fuse the interfacing onto the wrong side of your toweling. Your interfacing just comes up to the hems. There's no need to put interfacing on the actual hems. So keep pressing until that's well fused. Now, whenever you're pressing something long like this, I like to place it perpendicular or across my ironing board like that, because that way you don't curve it. If you run it lengthwise on the ironing board, you tend to iron in a curved fashion, so that can make the fabric stretch a little bit along one side. So I always hang it over the ironing board like that and just keep moving it across the board. Now I've got my two pieces of toweling here. This top one is my runner, and this one here is the one which I'm going to use as my backing with the interfacing on it. Now this is just done for demonstration purposes, so I have no applique or anything on here. It's just a plain runner, which would make the table runner totally reversible. So we're backing a toweling runner with toweling. So we're going to cut our front and our back exactly the same length. Now they're already the same width. These are 18-inch wide towelings. They're the same width, and we're leaving the hems on. So I've got them right sides together, and I am going to sew a 1/2-inch seam just down each end, and I'm going to start and finish with a back stitch. So use your walking foot, 1/2-inch seam. We're going to sew along both ends, short ends of the runner. Sewn across both ends of the runner. So I'm going to turn them now the right way out and press the edges. Now, whenever I want a seam on the very edge of something, I like to press it first flat. So I lay it so the seam's here, and I'm just going to push that seam one way, because then it gets my seam right on the edge. Otherwise, you can very easily get a tuck in that edge bit. So this is now nice and on the edge, and then I'm going to pick it up and fold it so it sits on the very edge, and it just works a little better. If you don't do that first bit, you get a tuck in here. You don't get the seam right up on the edge. So we're now going to press that edge along like that. Edges are pressed. So now our runner has nice sharp edges. The seam is right there on the edge like that. It's all pressed, and we are going to sew these two hemmed edges together. They're just going to line up like that, one on top of the other. Now I like to do this by hand. I just do a little slip stitch all the way down there. But I use my Wonder Clips to clip my edges together like that. holds them in place. I make sure they're lined up on top of one another. And if you do have a little bit of variance, when you slip stitch, if there's a little bit of excess fabric on one side, you can just ease that in. There we are. Those edges are all clipped together. And I would just sit down at night time, making sure that I poke that little seam bit in there when I sew. I just bring these over the top like that. Slip stitch them all the way down, and that's backing on a reversible toweling runner, toweling both sides. Now I also, once I'm finished, I'll stitch a few lines of quilting down each side of the stripe like that. You could quilt something in here if you wanted to. You could do cross hatching, whatever you like. But basically that is how you back a Moda Toweling table runner with Moda Toweling. Thanks for watching. Bye.